Airbnb host left me an unfair review, and it cost them hundreds. The weekend trip had been planned for weeks. My girlfriend and I were heading out of town to attend a close friend's wedding, and instead of booking a hotel, we opted for an Airbnb. We wanted a more relaxed atmosphere, especially since she was bringing her dog. We found a cozy little house a few hours away that allowed pets and had solid reviews. Everything about it looked perfect, clean, private, and pet-friendly. We booked it, took off work early that Friday, and arrived late in the afternoon with our bags, her dog, and the usual weekend excitement. The house was just as advertised. Rustic charm, well-maintained yard, enough space for the dog to run around. We settled in, unpacked a bit, and were hanging out on the porch, sipping drinks while the dog sniffed around the grass. About 30 minutes in, the host pulled up unexpectedly. I assumed he lived nearby and was just checking in to make sure everything was all right. He greeted us casually and noticed the dog. That's when he pointed out that we hadn't indicated we were bringing a pet. I honestly hadn't realized I'd missed that detail on the form. Total oversight. I immediately apologized and offered to pay the $25 pet fee right then and there. He waved it off, told us not to worry about it, and said he loved dogs. We talked about the wedding, the weather, his property, normal stuff. He even pet the dog before heading back out. At the time, it felt like a neighborly gesture more than anything. I assumed everything was fine. The rest of the weekend went smoothly. We went to the wedding and left the dog in the house for a few hours, but she was well behaved. No barking, no damage, no accidents. When it came time to leave, we gave the house a thorough cleanup, probably more than most guests would. We swept, tidied up, and even vacuumed up dog hair. Everything looked as spotless as we'd found it, and we left the keys in the lockbox feeling good about the stay. A few days later, the Airbnb review prompt hit my inbox. I didn't think twice, gave the place 5 stars, complimented the property, and praised the host. Then I checked the review he left for me. It felt like a punch to the gut. In his public review, he brought up that we hadn't informed him about bringing the dog and implied we'd been dishonest. In the private message section, he went even further. Said we caused him unnecessary work, that we shouldn't have left the dog alone, and that it created a problem for future guests. None of this was mentioned during our face-to-face talk, and if he'd had a change of heart, a simple message would have been enough. Instead, he decided to smear me publicly and ruin my spotless Airbnb guest rating over something we thought had been handled like adults. I responded through the app, reminded him that we had offered to pay, and that he had refused. I reiterated that the dog had done no damage, and that we had followed all the rules posted in the listing. Still, Airbnb doesn't remove reviews unless they clearly violate guidelines, and this one didn't cross that line. But my girlfriend, ever the detail person, pointed something out that I hadn't considered. Airbnb hosts aren't supposed to show up unannounced. That one thought flipped a switch. We hadn't invited him to the property. He came by without warning. While the interaction had seemed friendly at the time, he never once mentioned in the listing or the booking messages that he'd be stopping by. That alone, we discovered, was against Airbnb's policy. I contacted Airbnb customer service and let them know what had happened. They connected me with their security team, who asked for a timeline and any details I could recall. I answered all their questions truthfully. About a week later, I got a follow-up. Airbnb had spoken to the host and confirmed he violated their guest privacy policy. As a result, they refunded me 2/3 of the cost of the stay, about $200, all over a review.